Featherweight champion Ilia Topuria has been turning down a lot of contenders recently. This has caused quite a stir among the fans. Even former champion Alexander Volkanovski recently criticized Topuria for his approach to things despite having 4 fights within a 12-month span. And get this, Volkanovski is skipping the UFC 305 fight card in Perth. Seems like Topuria still has more to prove and the UFC may make him sign up for a fight. Will he be able to handle the pressure?
Some news that came to light last week. Joe Rogan on his podcast announced that Ilia Topuria allegedly refused the rematch for you in Perth. But was that fight ever even a possibility happening that soon?
Well, obviously I've made it pretty clear that I wanted to wait a bit towards the end of the year. I know that is the end of the year, but I was looking maybe that a little bit later. But yeah, with obviously questions were asked about, what was I gonna fight on the Perth card. A lot of media were saying, they're thinking, obviously I went over there and I was the face of the event when I went over there and did the announcement. So I'm guessing a lot of people thought I was going to be on there. So he was even getting asked questions about it. So he did an interview. I reckon that's where Joe Rogan got this. Whether he got inside information, I don't know. Where he was like, why would I go to enemy territory and fight someone, I'm the champ, and he was saying things like that. So whether that's what Joe Rogan was going off, or he's got inside information, but nothing was ever brought to me as in we want to fight, because I've been talking to UFC and I've made it clear that I want to fight later in the year and give myself a bit of a break. I know that is later in the year, but maybe that little bit later.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
Conor McGregor is now part owner of the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. But what's even more interesting is that he still has an ongoing contract with Dana White and the UFC. This has raised some eyebrows about the UFC president's stance on McGregor's new venture. People are wondering whether White is okay with McGregor's involvement in BKFC given his repeated attempts to become a UFC stake owner. But associated with the company, White can't hardly complain about his involvement, can he?
Do you think that with Conor being now a partial owner in the BKFC organization, do you think Dana White is punching air right now?
Listen, Dana White has a juggernaut with the UFC. Conor McGregor certainly moves the needle for him, but he's very, very successful without him. So I'm not that he's fighting for us, I'm saying, but as him promoting our product, who knows, right? You're probably a little mad. Your number one star is going to talk about a different company, so you're probably not very happy about it, but he's not worried about us. Not yet.
Middleweight lightning rod Sean Strickland has been in a few incidents involving a handgun. Just last year, he pulled out a gun on someone who he thought was trying to steal his truck, but turns out the person was wanted by the cops for a domestic incident. Crazy, right? Well, a couple of kids with nothing better to do in the middle of the night nearly found out the hard way after ringing the former middleweight champ's doorbell at 1 a.m. Strickland strolled out of his home sporting nothing but a robe and a handgun. After surrendering his 185-pound crown to Dricus du Plessis in January, Strickland will return to the octagon on Saturday, June 1st for a middleweight scrap with Paulo Costa. Initially, Tarzan turned down the opportunity after the UFC made a surprisingly low offer considering his status as a former champion. Days after venting his frustration on social media, the UFC did come correct with a new offer, prompting Strickland to sign on the dotted line and jump straight into training camp.
Dude!
Light heavyweight champion Alexander Pereira got a wrestling test from none other than the UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier. Cormier loves to test Pereira's grappling skills by grabbing his legs. However, Potan was not one to back down from a challenge and responded with some impressive takedown attempts of his own, making this encounter quite amusing. The whole session was captured on camera, and the footage shows Cormier and Pereira engaging in some intense sparring at Formazi's Arena in Rio de Janeiro. And that does it for today, but make sure you're subscribed to the channel at MMATabs, like this video, click the bell notification, and get notified of all of our daily news drops. Also, in case you missed it, check out this video with yesterday's news.